you running? Why are you running?
If you ever come to Brazil, don't expect a train ride, because although there are trains here, they are not meant for you. Brazil is a continental-sized country, reaching up to 8.5 million square kilometers in area, which is only topped off by USA, Canada, Russia and China. One similar characteristic between those largest countries is that its population is not evenly distributed to its whole land, be that because one region holds almost all of the economic and natural resources, or just that the opposite region is uninhabitable. And Brazil actually has a little bit of both. There are regions like the Amazon or the Cerrado that can be considered inhospitable and not as much economically profitable. But people always manage to make a way of living. This adaptability is actually one of the greatest characteristics in Brazilian culture. That being said, the population is indeed crowded alongside one area, that would be the coastline. In fact, almost all of the capital cities of these states they are connected with the ocean are coastal cities as well, with the exception being Teresina. But we don't talk about Teresina. And to me, this setup was just perfect. When I was younger, I imagined going on a trip, visiting all of those cities and seeing the beautiful scenarios of the coastline and the Mata Atlântica, which is the biome that spreads around its coastline. And at the time, I didn't know better, so I thought a train ride would be just perfect for this trip, because I would get stationed in the biggest cities and I wouldn't get to be as fast as a plane, but I would see the scenarios with more clarity and more patience, and I wouldn't be as adaptable as a car trip, but it would be more comfortable in a way and maybe even safer. And then it should be simple, right? I just needed to pack my bags, bring my headphones on to be part of imaginary music videos, and maybe a wand to keep the Dementors away, and everything is set, right? Well, it turns out, as I found later, that even though there are trains in Brazil, they are not meant for people. They are only used for the transportation of resources and commodities, and even then those are extremely outdated, and certainly there is not one that runs through the coastline for the sake of tourism. And even then those railways are extremely underdeveloped. The main asset of transportation in Brazil are trucks in highways, and we even have a pretty popular trucker culture due to being such a highly demanded profession. So the railways are just put to the sides. Nowadays this is just a topic of discussion, because they haven't really seen significant development since the 1930s. This is almost 100 years now. The rail network is being the same as it was before, and it even grows shorter at some places. And the reasons that cause this to make things really simple are this. First of all, the demand for the service has changed drastically since the 1920s. Back then, it was used for the transportation of people, but it was mostly used for the transportation of coffee, that was Brazilian's main product of exportation. And secondly, in the 1950s, Brazil saw its politics making a great shift. It was back then that the focus was directed to development of roads, and this was supposed to mean a lot of progress. But truth be told, when the topic involves Brazilian politics, a lot can be assumed. There are many instances that decisions and actions are taken with only the interest of certain groups or individuals in mind. The discontinuance of the railways is no different. And I could dig this up further, but for now I'm just doing this as someone that likes trains. And maybe if I really want that classic train ride, I can visit a country in Europe, maybe even Japan. But I still want to see the beauties of my own country. Nothing feels like home, right? Luckily for me, there is a unique way of travel in Brazil that can make me see the nature and stop by and interact with people in all the way. It's the pau de arara.